Let's start with these issues one after the other. Perhaps we should start with the one that is generating the most controversy right now. And that has to do with the insistence of the FCT administration that C of O's, if you want C of O's or you want to renew also, you have to pay 5 million naira. And that is generating a lot of controversy. How did you come about this sum of 5 million naira in the first place?
Well, Wike, thank you very much. And that is why sometimes it's very important to have this chat in order to educate the public. The FCT administration never insisted that there will be a charge of 5 million naira per CFO. What happened was that before I came on board, there was this contract awarded by the Federal Executive Council for certain people to, on behalf of the FCT, to collect CFOs for mass housing. And when I came on board, I said, I don't understand how this kind of contracts could be awarded. We have a lot of issues pertaining to the developers of those mass housing. And so many people who bought houses have been clamoring for security of their property, and for commercial purposes, they need to have the CFO of the property they bought. And it means that the developer have only one CFO for, say, in an estate that has over 500 houses. And how could that be? So I said, look, the FCT on its own can collect on its behalf, can collect by itself. Again, there are people who had land or who allocated land in the area councils. And you know that by the FCT Act, all land belongs to the FCT. No area council has power to allocate land to you and issue you any CFO. And in order to remedy some of these anomalies, we set up a task force to say, listen, we don't want to go back to cause some problems for those that were allocated land and given certificates by the area councils. And so what we will do, we will say, okay, let's forget about the allocation, but we can now properly document it by issuing you CFOs. And then for the mass houses. And so the task force came up that, look, because of what we are trying to introduce now, which we have gotten the verbal approval of Mr. President, we're just merely waiting for the official, that there have been a lot of discrepancies, a lot of cloning of CFOs. And so we have come up with an idea that every allottee who seeks for CFO, who applied for CFO, that must supply his NIN number, that's national identity number. So that, take for example, Benga has a CFO, you will see his NIN number. That will also help in terms of security checks. And so all we need in this property, after all, so many people can answer the same name. So somebody can answer, you can't say you're the only one who, somebody can answer Frank Amadi, for example. Another person can answer Frank Amadi, for example. So in the system, you can say Frank Amadi. Which of the Frank Amadi? But with the NIN number, two persons can have one NIN number. So everybody has a NIN number. And so this is one of the features we are going to put in the new CFO. 2, if the corporate bodies don't go with NIN number. So each corporate body, if you have a property, you must put your BVN. Right? Now, even in this case of introducing this NIN in the CFO, so many people are not even registered. So that also makes them to go and register. Now, but these are features that will be incorporated in the CFO.
For the future?
These are features.
So is it for those who want to collect in the future, or will you also affect those who already have?
Not even those who have. We are going to do a recertification. So that everybody that has had CFO will come back for recertification, so that we'll incorporate this NIN number.
And they have to pay your money.
I'm coming. I'm just coming, so that you don't need to rush. Those who have CFO before don't need to pay this money. Why else you can pay maybe 50,000 naira. Corporate body maybe 100,000 naira. Because you already have CFO. All you are doing is to recertify in order to incorporate these new fixtures. And then you will see so many things will come up. It helps in terms of security. It helps to improve our revenue generation. There are so many people who own about 7 properties. You know that? Now, it will not identify them. I know they are supposed to pay taxes. For security, all over the world. They identify, oh, this house, they go to the system and look at the system and find out that it's Benga. What is the problem here? Benga has to be accountable. All right? So, you're not looking at it at the level of base. So what I did, for those who have not had CFO, where you have this mass housing. So when they came out, I said, look, we have to have a whole interactive section. I think for the first time, I can sit in my office and take a decision. Yes, you will clamor, oh, it's too high. I agree with you. But again, you still need the CFO. But I said, no, let's go and have interactive section with all the stakeholders, developers, and those who are bought from the developers. So everybody was there. We allowed about 6 people to speak. It was very interesting. I'm sure when you came in this morning, you would have watched the documentary. So the task force proposed 5 million. And the stakeholders said, no, let it be reduced. Are you going to do it on those whose property is 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, 1 bedroom, as the case may be? But you understand that CFO is not giving based on whether it is 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom. It's the land. All right? It's the land. The only difference is that when you have, like, say, 3,000 square meters of land, and I have 1,000 square meters of land, in your annual rent per ground rent, you can't pay the same, right? Okay. But in issuance of CFO, it's the same. I don't know whether your collection of CFO is the same. But annual ground rent are not. You don't pay the same.
I thought you said that you consider if you change whether or not everybody should pay the same amount for CFO.
No, I said we were not considering that stakeholders meeting for the mass housing, not for those who have already had CFO. Right? So at the end of the day, I told them, no, we need to reduce it. And it was reduced to about 3.5 or what. Okay. So this...
Across board?
Yes. So this rumor of 5 is not correct. And that's why people should actually... And the people were happy that this was the first time in their history to sit down with the minister to discuss, to interact, to ask questions. Why this? And when I explained everything to them, they all marveled. Take, for example, I asked them simple. Do you know the salary of FCT in a month?
The salary bill?
Yes.
How much?
About 8.9 billion.
Wow.
Right? That is not the pension and the rest of it. That is not other allowances, attached to it. Now, when you go to FAC, so many people say that FCT collects 1%. They don't ask 1% of what? Is it 1% of the money to be charged by the Federation in a month, or 1% of what is allocated to the federal government? We don't collect 1% of the Federation money, no. We collect 1% of what is allocated to the federal government. Ordinarily, it should have 1% of the entire Federation. But as it is today, this is what is being collected. So if federal government collects 500 billion in a month from the Federation account, what is 1% of 500 billion? 5 billion. So we have salary of 8.9, right? Now,
have you factored in this new increment?
I'm just saying, yes. Because it's almost 9.9 now. Okay. But if you also add this increment,
so that's more.
Yes. Now it will even be more. Now, you now ask yourself, how do you pay salaries? You fall back to what? IGR. There are countries that solely depend on their IGR taxes. So you cannot say that what we are collecting now is illegal. No. All I explained to them, see where we are, see the situation. If you are not told, you have this assumption that there's so much money. I told you there's not so much money, but there's so much potential.
Okay.
Okay. Tell us
which
about...
ought to be actualized.